Hello everybody and welcome to the second ever episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is where, for set 6 of Datacron, this is where we review everything there has to do with the Datacrons, the stats, the mechanics for alignment, faction, and character. I'm going to go through everything about this set called Dangerous Prototypes, starting with the stats, then moving to alignment, each faction separately, and then each character within its own faction separately after that. So to start, we're going to go to the stats. And this set kind of reminds me of set 5. There's some overlap. There's 3 stats shared with set 5, and since this is only a dark side Datacron set, you're going to want stats a lot as well. There are some mechanics in level 6 that can work with light side, since Scoundrels and Droids are an ambiguous faction. They have light side and dark side, but for the most part, all those mechanics are just for dark side. So the good stats, health is still there with the same amount at each level. This is the level 7 to 8 value, so that's the max you're going to get. You can roll this twice, so you could get a max of a little bit over 100% health if you want to. Very strong, very useful. I think it's better than protection because, in this set, because you have lower values there, and it's more universally valuable. Offense, just straight offense this time, so this is kind of crazy. So far we've been limited to like splits for offensive stats other than crit damage. It's like, okay, physical offense, special offense, armor penetration, resistance penetration, but this is just straight up offense. And since this is the level 7 to 8 value, if you maxed out offense, you could get like plus 70%, I believe. If you were like just going hardcore at it and got perfect rolls on each level. I don't know if people are actually going to do that, but very strong stat. And next we got crit avoidance, super strong as well. You could stack like really high crit avoidance. You could get close to 100, not fully 100, but you could get close, which is kind of crazy. So that's just very strong. I'm interested to see how that'll play out. Protection, again, very useful for a lot of teams. JML comes to mind, but just a lot of stuff. I mean, tanks that use protection. And then crit damage. I no longer think this is ugly. I mean, I do think it still has the potential to be overpowered if people only rolled crit damage and then they had like plus 250% extra crit damage and they had 500% crit damage. But I haven't seen people doing that yet. Perhaps they will. But as of now, it's just in the good category. And with this set with critical avoidance on it, it's just definitely not as powerful as it could have been before. The only bad stat, in my opinion, is crit chance. And, it's not bad, but it's like, this is going to be the one that I'm not going to be happy to roll. With all these other stats, I want them, and crit chance, most of the damage dealers that you care about critting with, they already have high crit chance. There's some that don't, like Mace Windu, Ki-Adi Mundi. They don't have high crit chance. Fennec doesn't have high crit chance. A lot of special damage dealers don't, so it could work out well there. But I'm just not going to be happy to roll it. And then the ugliest stat, I think, is defense. This is for 2 reasons. 1, because it's both armor and resistance combined, and 2, it's a higher value than when it was split. Like with armor, you could top out at 80% for a level 7 to 8, but here, since we're combining it, making it more powerful already, we're allowing up to 100%. I think you can get up to 450% defense if that's all you rolled. Whales are definitely going to go for that. And then you can't like mix and match. You can't say, oh, I'll just use special damage or I'll just use physical damage. This is insane. This is just way, way overpowered. I think the key in this set for people that are just trying to manipulate it is just to get pure defense on every roll. So these stats are really good. I think the mechanics a lot of them are better than set 5, so it differs in that way. But this is definitely another stat-heavy set that you really want to get these stats. And now for the alignment stats. Starting with the good, I got when dark side allies use a basic ability, they get crit chance up, crit damage up, and offense up for 2 turns. This is really good. I mean, basics are easy to do, and it doesn't say within your own turn. So you're going to have a lot of damage boosts all the time, especially in teams with mass assists. And what particularly stands out to me about use for this one is Imperial Troopers. Whenever they're doing an assist, or whenever Dark Trooper's assisting Piet on his basic, they're going to get 3 buffs, and that's going to be an infinite turn meter train. So that's going to be absolutely crazy for them, and it's not going to be bad on many other teams as well. So yeah, definitely them. And there's a lot of teams where they don't usually get these buffs on their own, so that'll be very helpful. And the next, for the first time a dark side tank ally is defeated, revive them with 100% health, reset their cooldowns, and give them a bonus turn limit once per battle, just overall. So this can only happen to 1 tank per match. This is insane as well. If you think about all these strong dark side tanks out there, Darth Malgus, Malak, Royal Guard, there's tons of stuff out there where this is just really gonna throw a damper on a lot of counters to teams. And with the set 4 Datacrons going away, this might be an option for our Lord Vader team, but just very strong, really great. The bad ones, or no, there's one more good one. Whenever a dark side ally uses a special ability, they gain evasion up, health up, and health steal up for 2 turns. I mean, it's good because, I mean, that's a lot of good stats. I almost put it in bad, but it's not something I'd prefer here. But, you know, evasion up could be helpful if you have base evasion on a character or other stuff going on. Honestly, it's just okay. The bad, when a dark side ally uses a basic ability, they gain speed up for 2 turns. It's just not enough in my opinion. I mean, speed up as a buff isn't super impactful anyway. When speed is the most important is right out of the gate, right in the beginning of the match, and after that it's less impactful. So no one's starting out with a basic except like Han Solo, and this doesn't apply to him. So yeah, it's just not enough going on for it to be worthwhile trying to get. But the best of all, this is ugly, like strong ugly, which I didn't mention at the beginning. The ugly could be either good or bad, and I already went over that in some for the defense. So when it's blue highlighted, it's too good. And I think this is too good. At the start of the encounter, the weakest ally gains 20% turn meter for each dark side ally, which is crazy. Most of the time, the weakest ally, which is the lowest health and protection, is not the worst ally. It's one of the best. It's a support character, and sometimes they can get a turn meter train going. So, just for example, this could be like Hux, and he gets a turn right away, and I don't know. It depends on the mechanics whether he gets the turn meter first or the advantage up. So I'm not sure. So he could pass a turn to Slicker if that's him. Imperial Troopers, this could be Veers, and he's going to get the train rolling right away. That'd be kind of a decision whether I don't know if this one, top one would be better or this. But you could even make Darth Revan the weakest on a team pretty easily with Darth Malgus lead. So this is just crazy. I think this is going to be busted. Everyone's going to be using it. This is going to be the most broken stat in level 3 for the whole set. But another little thing that's ugly about this set is it's only dark side, just like set 5. I can't believe they went twice in a row only doing dark side. They should either do, if they're going to do a single alignment set, it should be dark side, light side, dark side, light side. Otherwise, just mix them all the time. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Right now to the first faction mechanics set. This is the Scoundrel Mechanics. With this set, the level 6 abilities are kind of copy and paste for each faction, and there's one unique ability that happens for each faction, and the rest are just copy and paste with that different faction inserted, and I'll point that out when it comes up. So the good ones for Scoundrel. Whenever a Scoundrel ally defeats an enemy, they take a bonus turn. I think that's pretty good. I mean, there are plenty of good Scoundrels that can get on a roll and can just start killing people left and right. Commander Ahsoka Tano and Han Solo are light side Scoundrels that do a lot of damage and are going to take advantage of that. So that's very strong, and there's tons of dark side, like Bounty Hunters. And other light side Scoundrels, you got the BAM team. So BAM is going to use his Whistling Birds. When he kills someone, he's just going to take a bonus turn and then keep going. Another good one is when a Scoundrel ally falls below 100% health, they get a bonus turn, limit once per character for a battle. I think it's really strong. Like, it's just constant fail safes. If you lose all your protection, then you're taking a bonus turn, and that's just gonna be super helpful. It's borderline ugly, but I didn't put it in that category. Next, we got when a Scoundrel ally deals damage to an enemy and no other enemy is marked, inflict mark for 1 turn on the enemy, which can't be resisted. So there's 3 kind of in the same schema like this. And the next one is blind, like it's the same thing. When you deal damage and there's no blind anywhere, you inflict blind. Same with mark. I think mark is good, blind is not. This also makes me think of Han Solo. I mean, everything makes me think of Han Solo in this one. You can mark someone with a rebel team, which is crazy. And they're just for like bounty hunters. There's plenty that attack out of turn, like Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Fett's Fennec when she has her contract. So you could just be marking people with teams that have no other way to mark guys otherwise. And blind, it's okay, but it's limited. And, you might be stuck hitting the tank, which is the slowest character. And then it's not going to go. Everyone else is going to go. And then the tank hits you with their blind and they miss, and it doesn't matter either. I mean, the same could be said for mark. Like, it's hard to control it. I don't like these abilities much, but I do think the marked is more valuable. And then the others, which are, there's also ability block. There's a lot of ability blocks going around, so you would need nobody to be ability block for that to come into play at all. So I overall think that's the least valuable one, and it's only for 1 turn. Another bad one is when a scoundrel is defeated, enemy is defeated by a scoundrel ally that can't be revived. Because this has very limited applicability. It's very situational, and most of the time, if you're taking out characters, you're in a good spot anyway. You're going to be in an advantage 5-on-4 or something, and unless you're going against like Jedi Knight Revan, which is never on defense, or bounty hunters with bounty hunters resolve, or Night Sisters or something, that's not going to be useful. And you don't see a lot of Night Sisters at this point on the top level. But the best mechanic, and the Scoundrel specific one, is the first time each Scoundrel uses a basic ability on their turn, they reset their cooldowns, gain 100% turn meter, limit once per character for battle. This is insane. This is broken. This is very ugly. Again, thinking of light side Scoundrels. With Han Solo, he shoots first. He's going to open up the match. You get the basic. You immediately get another turn. You use Deadeye. Then you get 100% turn meter again, and then you can use the basic again. 100% turn meter as long as you have 100% crit chance. So that's like 5 shots in a row, and then you're generating turn meter with CLS. It's only going to be useful on offense for Han Solo specifically, because the AI is kind of dumb and he prioritizes the shrug. But yeah, this could also work for Commander Ahsoka Tano. You could just, not under JMK as well, because you're not getting turn meter, but if she's under like Padme or something, you can just do a basic with her on her turn. She resets her cooldowns, and then you do the jump, the annihilate. This is just busted overall. I mean, for Scoundrels like bounty hunters or BAM or anything, you can just do your specials first like you normally would, and then as soon as you are out of your cooldowns and then you do a basic, you just get another go at it. The applicability, it's hard for me to think there's just so much applicability to it for this. And for Scoundrels, if you roll Scoundrel, or you're going for a Scoundrel mechanic, this is definitely the one to go. I think it's busted. And now to the Inquisitor Mechanics. There's less to say about this, since most of them are copy and paste, the same mechanics, but their unique mechanic, I think, is their best option. They get 100% potency, and at the start of each Inquisitor's ally's turn, dispel all buffs and then inflict health down, which can be resisted on enemies with Purge. Can't be resisted. So that's crazy. Like, you're constantly going to be dispelling buffs from the enemy team. And so it's almost like a buff immunity, and just, I don't know, they just can't get rolling with their buffs. And then health down is kind of helpful. It's kind of a weird debuff. You don't see it much. It's hard to measure its impact. But yeah, this is really great. The 100% potency is nice anyway, because they love debuffs and they need potency. But just the constant buff dispel, I think this is the one to go for with them. There's other good options like the bonus turns for killing an enemy and falling below 100% health. The 100% health one is, it could compete for being the best. I'm not sure. It just depends. This might come out on top. But defeating an enemy and taking a bonus turn, I don't like as much for them because they're not like a big hit faction. So like if you kill someone, it's kind of like 1,000 cuts. So you're not gonna like. It's not like, oh, I did a massive hit. I can do more massive hits very often. So it's not as good for them. Next up, the marked one I think could be useful. They don't have a way of applying marked normally. I don't believe. I don't have Grand Inquisitor yet, so maybe he has something that I'm not super familiar with his kit, but I don't think he does. Blind, they don't have a way to apply it either, so maybe that could be useful, but I don't think it's, I don't know, I don't think it's worthwhile. Next, they're preventing revives. It applies like the other ones. It's too situational. I don't think it's worth going for. What's ugly for them is ability block, because they have a lot of ways to inflict ability block already, so there's a better chance than not that there's going to be an ability block somewhere, which would render this entirely useless. So definitely go for the 100% potency or the fail-safe bonus turns with your Inquisitorius team if you have them ready. Now, possible droid mechanics. First up, we got when a droid ally defeats an enemy that take a bonus turn. This isn't unique, but I think this is kind of crazy for droids, or can be, because there's a lot of hard-hitting droids. I'm thinking of a Grievous team. I'm thinking of Dark Trooper. So if you're using Imperial Troopers, your set 3 mechanic is already pretty amazing. But then if you put this, your Dark Trooper is going to just take lots of back-to-back turns. Imperial Troopers are going to be kind of crazy with this set. Mostly them. I mean, Sortie team does deal a lot of damage, and the Murder Bots with the Dr. Afra team, it's going to be good for them as well. Although I think the Scoundrel bonus is probably better for that team. I'm not gonna have Dr. Afra for a while, so I won't be able to test it myself. Their unique one, you know, it's pretty good for a Grievous team. Whenever a droid damages an enemy with a basic, in or out of their turn, inflict target lock for 2 turns. If the enemy is already target locked, inflict breach and buff immunity for 2 turns. So the Grievous team already has buff immunity with B2, but it's not irresistible, and they don't have breach. So breach is reducing defense and speed. So I mean, that'd be nice. It'd be a nice addition for a Grievous team. So could have some use here. I'm not like in love with it. I'd like the bonus turn for killing an enemy, or the fail safe. I think those are pretty strong in comparison. But that's their unique one. For the stats ones, I think Marked has some good use as well. I don't think many of the droids have ways around taunts, so it's not as good as it could be. And you know, the jury's out on this. If it can only be applied to one target, it's not as good. Or like the blind. Like if blind can be applied, if you do an AoE and no one has blind and then they all get blind, that would make it much stronger in my eyes. But right now, those don't seem as good. The ability block of the blind. And preventing revives, just in general, I don't find it very valuable. I don't think any are ugly for droids, like super weak or super strong. Preventing revives, you know, it's not so bad that it's ugly. Like there could be uses where you want it. But yeah, that's it for droids. And now we arrive at the level 9 character mechanics for Scoundrels first. Whenever Canderous Ordo damages an enemy with a special, and the enemy doesn't have Armor Shred, inflict Armor Shred. And then if you use the basic on someone with Armor Shred, inflict Expose, which can't be resisted, and gain protection up for 2 turns. So this is borderline broken, like borderline ugly. The only reason I'm not sure if it is or not is because you want Maul with Lord Vader most of the time, and even if Canderous is there, it's more limited impact. It's very strong. Like on a Maul Mando's team, this is crazy. You're gonna melt through people. So like Maul's gonna go whenever he goes, or maybe, and then Canderous is gonna go after he assists a bunch of time, do his AoE. Then Maul's gonna start his frenzy, and then they're gonna have Armor Shred on them, and then every time Canderous hits, it's exposed. They're just gonna melt everyone. This is probably better on offense with Canderous. I don't have him at R7, but it's very strong. It's crazy borderline broken for him. Then we got IG-88. These are books. These level 9s, like just fair warning for all of them, they're just like huge. Whenever he critically hits an enemy, He gains damage immunity, which for 1 turn, which can't be copied. That's not like undispellable. It's just you can't copy damage immunity. He gains 25% turn meter. Blinds the enemy for 1 turn. Can't be resisted. If they're target locked, he gets protection up, stacking, retribution, and speed up. So this would be great on a Dr. Aphra team or a Grievous team if you're using him there. But since he has an AoE, he's basically going to take a bonus turn. He has a lot of crit chance, and then he protects himself with damage immunity and inflicting blind. So it's pretty strong. I don't necessarily want to get IG88 to R7, but it wouldn't hurt because he has a great ship on one of the best fleets in the game. Very strong there. And then Hondo. I don't have Hondo yet, I don't use him, but he's kind of annoying to go against. When he uses a basic, he gains 9 stacks of ransom and protection up 100% for 2 turns, and reduces cooldowns by 1. So that's just strong. He's going to be even harder to kill unless you have buffs to spells coming. Sometimes he's the last one to get killed anyway, and without a lot of dodge. I don't think he's going to hold out forever. Because he has outmaneuver. He's hiding most of the time anyway, so you're not hitting him as much until everyone else is dead. So the bad ones, Mob Enforcer, definitely not worth Relic 7 anyway, even no matter what, well, not no matter what it was. She's already Relic for Jabba if you went for him, but I don't like her ability. Whenever Mob Enforcer uses a basic, she gains protection up 50% for 2 turns and 50% turn meter. Whenever Mob Enforcer damages an enemy using a special, inflict fear on that 1 turn for that enemy, which can't be resisted. So, it is decent. If she had an AoE, I'd put it as good, because she could do AoE fear, but she doesn't, I believe. And then her turn meter, she's getting her basic, she's getting extra turn meter, which is fine, but I don't know, she's not much of a threat. I don't want her R7. But the good ugly one, like the strong ugly one, is Dr. Aphra. It's the only one that's short, and it's the best. At the end of any droid ally's turn, Dr. Aphra takes a bonus turn and recovers 5% health and protection. The last part, could be annoying. It's a little recovery. But the first part is just insane. She's just taking turns left and right. When a droid goes, she goes. So I think that's way too overpowered. She's brand new. She's already strong enough as it is without help from Datacrons. Yeah, this is just busted. So this is rewarding people that spend money in early and got Dr. Aphra. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just I'm not going to be able to make use of this for a while. Maybe I'll be able to get her. I am farming the murder droids right now. But yeah, just way super strong. Next up, we got the Inquisitorius level 9s. This is unique because you're mainly just having one team of Inquisitors in 5v5 and then maybe 2 in 3v3, so you only want one of these. A good one, a great one, honestly, is Seventh Sister. First of all, she's immune to ability, block, fear, and stun, so you can't slow her down for her turns or anything or abilities. And when she uses enemy intelligence, that healing thing, so it grants target ally a bonus turn. That's great. And then when she uses her shock prod, the dispel that inflicts debuffs, inflict protection disruption for 2 turns, which can't be resisted, and reset the cooldown of ID9 and enemy intelligence. That's insane. This is so powerful. If you're doing 3v3, this is the obvious second choice to go for if you're not going to use her with Grand Inquisitor. But it's just, I don't know. Protection disruption is just a busted debuff, and when it can't be resisted, that's just crazy. It can be dispelled, so they can get rid of it, thankfully, so that's some balance there. But yeah, she's already one of the better Inquisitors, so this makes her way better. Nine Sister. Whenever Nine Sister uses a basic ability, she gains protection up 50% for 2 turns and 50% turn meter. So this is basically the same as the Mob Enforcer one, but Nine Sister's way better. She's a tank, so she makes use of that 50% protection up. And when she damages an enemy using a special ability, inflict fear for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. And her special is an AoE. So as I read that, she inflicts AoE fear, which can't be resisted. That's kind of insane. So she's another option to go for as a second level 9 if you want to for Inquisitors. The bad Second Sister, you're not going to use second. She's the one that gets left out right now on a full team of 5 under Grand Inquisitor. And it's like the Armor Shred one. It's basically like Canderous', but she isn't using her basic as much as Canderous, so it's not crazy for her. Yeah, it's not horrible, but it's not good. I wouldn't recommend it. And the next one is Eighth Brother, and it's it's okay. It's simple. He gains 50% turn meter when other allies use specials. So he's gonna be going a lot, but it's bad because I wouldn't prioritize this over any of the others. I'll go for either 7th Sister or 9th Sister. But the ugly one for Grand Inquisitor, it's crazy. While Grand Inquisitor is active, Inquisitors are immune to fear and stun, so everyone, so they have like giant loot properties. And whenever an ally or enemy is defeated, ally or enemy, all allies, Inquisitor allies, gain 50% turn meter. That's crazy. They gain damage immunity for 1 turn, which can't be copied, and their cooldowns are reset. That's just ridiculous. It's just way too strong. I mean, I know that they want Grand Inquisitor to be the best, so I'm glad I will be getting him this time around. I am going for R7. I'm definitely going for this R9 Datacron. This is the only slam dunk for me that I definitely want to get out of the level 9s. I kind of want this as well, but yeah, this is just way too powerful. As soon as they kill someone or someone on their team die, like, it makes them so hard to kill, and it gives them so much momentum if they already have it. This is just crazy good. Right, and on our last slide here, we got the level 9 mechanics for droids. There's 6 of them. IG-88 was also a droid, but he's a scoundrel, so I put him there. First one is the C-3PO looking murder droid, 000. While BT-1 is active, he's immune to daze and stun, and whenever he damages a target locked enemy, he gains protection up 100%, stacking for 2 turns, and 50% turn meter. It inflicts protection disruption for 2 turns, which can't be resisted. So, like I already said, protection disruption is insane, but I mean, I still wouldn't go for this one if you have Dr. Aphra. Hers is the best by far, but if you don't have her, this is pretty good to go for. I don't have this character yet. I don't have this one either, so I have limited expertise with them, though I know they are pretty good. While C-3PO looking one is active, R2-D2 looking one is immune to ability block and stun. Whenever BT-1 damages a target locked enemy, he gains the protection up. It's the same 25% turn meter, so he gets less turn meter than this guy. Kind of unfair, but he is like a better damage dealer, and he resets 000's cooldowns, so they're really working well together. I'd probably go for this one just because of protection disruption, pretty strong, but yeah, I have limited expertise with them. Next up, we got Droideka. I don't want Droideka R7. He doesn't have as much use, but he has the Armor Shred one. That's like a copy of Canderous', and it's not as good for it. I mean, it is good because of all his assists. But I don't want to take him up, and he's not the best 5th in a Grievous team, which is mostly the only place he'd be, unless he's with like Newton Scoundrels, which isn't as common anymore. So I don't know. It's not like horrible, but I wouldn't go for it. HK-47 definitely would not go for this because he's not used as much anymore. He doesn't make the Malgus team, and he's not as good with other droids. And when he uses a basic, he gets protection up 50%, stacking, and then 50% turn meter, and then whenever he damages an enemy with a special ability, well, he does have AoE, so actually maybe that's decent. So maybe I've got to change my mind on this. I was thinking just about his assassination protocol ability, but he does have an AoE, so he can inflict AoE fear. Although, if the mechanics, he hits like multiple times, I think, with that AoE, so if it like procs the fear and then dispels it, that wouldn't be good. But actually this might be a call for reevaluating on him and using it, even though he doesn't slot into a team as much right now. IG-86, bad character, you don't get him. It's the same ability as IG-88, but IG-88 has an AoE, so he's basically giving himself a bonus turn. No one except whales bring IG-86 up to R7, so that's why this is really bad. But he is getting the damage immunity, the turn meter, inflicting blind. He's getting some protection up, retribution, and speed up if they're target locked. I still wouldn't go for it just because it's IG-86. And the most ugly one, surprisingly, and the best, is Imperial Probe Droid. The first time Probe Droid is defeated, revive all other defeated allies. no droid specification, just all defeated allies. Could be just Empire. Other allies recover 100% health and protection. Gain 100% turn meter and 100% offense until the end of the battle. So there's a couple reasons why I think this is broken. One, the later clauses after the revive, I don't think they require a revive. So if he's just the first one down, he's not even reviving anyone, he's still healing everyone fully, giving them 100% turn meter and giving them 100% offense until the end of the battle, and then they could still get offense up and stuff. So that is insane. You stick him with a Lord Vader team, and you know, I don't know if there's any revive preventing mechanics for the team itself. I don't think there is, because Darth Vader can come back. You can just slot him in on a Lord Vader team, and you have to kill him first. And even like if you don't kill him first, he's going to bring the whole team back. And if you do kill him first, then they're just going to ramp up their offense an insane degree and get bonus turns, all of them. So this is crazy. And really just any team. Like, I can't even begin to think of all the possibilities for it, because there's no restrictions. So it could just be on any team. You could put it on JMK, you could put it on JML, and just stuff like that. You could put it on Rey. Like, it just, I don't know. This is just truly busted to me. For people that already brought him to R7 for platoons or something in the new TB, this is going to be a consolation for them. It's honestly cause to evaluate whether I should bring him to R7 myself. So that's it for this set 6 review. Pretty strong set, very strong stats, some overpowered mechanics, a lot of crap mechanics that you're not going to use in the level 9s, which is good. I don't want to have a bunch of level 9s to chase. But, you know, there is some broken stuff. There's so many abilities, it's going to be hard to find the right ones you want for level 6. Level 3, there's that busted ability where I'm going to prioritize getting like 4, 5, 6 of those. So yeah, I'm going to be going pretty hard after this one because it's very strong. Not as strong as set 4, or not as many broken interactions as set 4, I think. But there are some broken ones like Imperial Probe Droid, Grand Inquisitor, and Dr. Aphra, and then the 100% turn meter clause for the start of a battle on the level 3. Definitely some overpowered stuff. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think I got wrong. What do you think's better? What do you think is worse than how I evaluated it? I'd love to hear from you. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time.